What's up, SMD fam? What's going on? How you guys doing? I hope well. So, Jimmy, I see you in here early. I never perceived a statement like that. Yeah, you know, lately, and I don't know why or what for, but lately I've been in some deep thought. I think it's more of not. I think I know. It's the longer I've been out of the debt matrix, the job world. Uh, it just gets deeper and deeper. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad I've escaped, but I'm glad it things have come slowly because your mind has to be strong when leaving something that I was born in. I was born in the debt matrix, and to escape something that I didn't even know I was in is huge, right? I didn't know I was in a perspective of capitalism. I didn't know I was in one single perspective of capitalism. So getting out of debt was just the first part, right? Now to escape the job world, just obey bosses. One second, let me drink some water real quick. My throat is kind of stuffy nose too a little bit. The job world is now that I've been on my own in my own business for years. I could see what a job is. I could see what wages are, what wages are, and then on top of that, having a job, I was deep in debt. What's so crazy when I think about myself making six figures? I made six figures for quite a few years, right? But I was still living paycheck to paycheck, right? Still living pay. That didn't even wake me up to why paycheck to paycheck was a dead giveaway that I had nothing, that I owned nothing. Looking forward to paydays. I always knew when my payday was, right? And I remember the last year when I still had a job, I was debt free, and I had totally forgot about paydays. I didn't know when my paydays were. I couldn't remember if I got paid last week or the week coming up. And I will never forget when I was in my cubicle at work one day, and I stood up out of the cubicle, and I think I asked my coworker next to me. I said, "Hey, did we get paid last week or did we get paid this week?" Everybody in the close vicinity that could hear me, they popped up their heads like that game Whack-A-Mole. They popped up and all looked at me like, "Oh," and then one of them said, "Oh yeah, we know who makes the big bucks." I was like, "The big bucks? We all make six figures sitting up in here. What are you talking about?" But I realized today, I realized why that is, right? Everybody, 99% of the people with jobs are there because they have to be there. I was in debt. I had to be there. It and this is what I now understand of what a job does, right? A job masks uh it masks what really is, right? A job is they take care of everything for you. Go there, you get hired, they have insurance there for you. When it's time to get paid, they pull all your the FICA out and Social Security, and all of that stuff is done for you. Pull out of your check before you get your net income. All of that's done, right? You are just there to work. I realized that I got along with most of the people I worked with because we had to be there. We had to be there. So we're like-minded friends. We think we think we are friends, but 9 times out of 10, when you leave a job, you don't I didn't really talk to anybody. As many jobs as I had throughout my life, I didn't talk to the people continuously after I left the job. It was just maybe a week or two. After that, it would just dwindle off, and I just never hear from them again because we were debt slaves. It doesn't matter if you're hourly, salary. It didn't matter what I was. I was a debt slave, and the program is there to list job just like the title of this video, just obey the bosses. You just obey the bosses, do what you're told, you try to remain on the good side because you don't want to lose your job. So crazy. And it was like, I was a network engineer 3, right? And this is the crazy part about a job. When I get hired, they give me this title called Network Engineer 3. So when I go out and socialize or date or, especially when it came to women, I was a computer engineer. Because everybody in that particular generation, when you first start your career, the first question is, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, I'm a network engineer 3. Well, the job that hired me gave me that title. Once I leave, they take it. That the problem with me and many other people, you get this job and then I integrate that title into who I am. That title becomes part of me, which is a huge mistake. Huge mistake. Losing the person who I am. Who is LJ without network engineer 3? It took me When I first quit my job, it took me a year to become uh how do I describe it? Addicted to, because when I first quit my job, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have a gap on my resume. They're gonna the next time I try to apply for a job, they're gonna say, hey, how come you haven't working in 2, 3 months? What have you been doing? All this bull crap that you gotta pretend to be when you go into an interview, and you have this fake, hey, hell yeah, just it's just so it's just all because I was in debt. And even when you have managers and you have higher ups, or say like wait a second, say like we were in a building, I was in a particular building, and when the higher ups decide to come to the building, or you know the general managers or the executives, everybody's on there, hey, so and so's in the building. Now, don't mind you, I was never like that. I was never an ass kisser. I was never in it. But the way people act when the big wigs come in, it's all part of the program. Now, these people are probably these people are probably just as in debt as well. They're just because they're your manager or they're higher up and they make 6 figures, it doesn't mean that they're not a debt slave too. They have bosses to obey as well. And the longer I've been out, if you guys and it's a blessing from God. Let me tell you something. Now, I had to overcome a lot of fears to get where I'm at, to be to even to be able to talk to you, to be able to see what I'm telling you. You have to take the chance, you have to overcome fears, and your mind will have to be ready to accept what is. What is that I've owned nothing my entire life, nothing. Making 6 figures and I own nothing. Now, the whole entire time that I'm working, I knew something was missing, right? I'm like, how come I'm not further ahead? How come I don't have this and that? And how come I don't have the house and this, all these things, right? Well, 99% of the houses you see right now, when it doesn't matter what neighborhood you drive in, those people have mortgages. And if you have a mortgage, that means you don't own nothing. And if you have a mortgage, this was so crazy with the job masks it all because you keep getting this check in to pay these things that you don't own on a monthly basis that make you feel like you're progressing. You get it's like this. Say like you make six figures, right? And then you get a say like you get a pretty good raise. The first thing most people do is upgrade their car or get a bigger house. That puts you get a raise, which makes you go higher up in your tax bracket, okay? And then you go out and finance a bigger house, which locks you in at the higher tax rate, which makes you make less money. And I discovered this. Was I in debt? I can't remember this, but I remember when I first reached over six figures. Right, I got a raise, and I moved from like, you know, 89,000 to just over 100,000. Right, and I remember being very excited to see my next check. Okay, and this is what made me pay attention to tax brackets. Okay, because before I never really paid attention to tax brackets. I couldn't wait to see my next check. And when I got my next check, guess what? It was less than my previous check before I got the raise. Less. I was like, what? How is that possible? I moved up into a higher tax bracket. But and this is how this is what's so cold about a job. This was so cold, right? When you go and finance things, they go by your gross income, money that you're not even gonna get. And then when you drive your brand new car to your job, right? You have no idea what you're telling you have no idea what you're telling your boss. You're telling your boss you're not going anywhere anytime soon. You get a new house, you're not going anywhere anytime soon, and then they're going to abuse you because you have to take it because you're in debt. I was in debt. And when I came up with this just obey bosses, it's true. The job, the job masks what really is. And to hear me, and if you're listening to me, this is a gift from God because millions upon millions of people don't know what I'm telling you. And what I'm telling you is mathematical fact. This is mathematical fact. Mathematical fact means it's true. If you're listening to this, to accept that you own nothing, if you have a mortgage or a car payment, you can't save for retirement. You can't save any money. And with the mortgage and the mortgage and car payments, interest means whatever money that you do have in the bank, you think you have in the bank, right, is dwindling every single day because of interest. And the job masks it all because if you don't understand tax brackets and you're going up in your if you're going up in your tax if you're getting raises, that means you're going up in your tax bracket. And if you get more debt, you cannot do anything to lower yourself in your tax bracket. So when it looks like you're getting a raise, but if you go out and finance something more, you're actually making less than before getting the raise because you get a raise, you go up in your tax bracket, you upgrade your car, you upgrade the house. That means you go up in more debt and then you go up in more interest rate. And the job masks it all. Mm. And to accept, and it counts on what age you are, okay? It counts on which age you are, what age you are. To accept that you own nothing, The money that is in your 401k or your retirement is not really there. And this is all you have to do. This is all you have to do. Say like you have a mortgage, okay? Open up the calculator, put in the savings that you have in your bank account minus your mortgage balance and hit equal. The calculator says you don't have any money in your bank. As a matter of fact, you have no money. And to accept that, I'm gonna just use myself, so you keep it to myself. To accept that I owned nothing throughout my young adult life. Thank God every day I started to wake up around 40. I knew something was wrong. To understand that at this age, the only way I'm going to be able to have money in retirement, I have to I have to own my own business. I have to, because a job will not be fast enough to do it. It just won't. And if you listen to this, the faster you realize this, the faster you'll be able to save money for retirement. I understand why Now I understand why all these taxes are like Social Security and all this stuff is taken out of your check, because the majority of people are in debt, and the majority will reach retirement with no money. So they make us pay for it. They make us put money in there to take care of the people that never woke up. Like everything, I now understand that every what makes this whole world, especially capitalism, an illusion, because everybody's perspective of capitalism is different. That's what makes it an illusion. So when you hear somebody say, "Hey, retirement age, I'm about to retire," you don't know what retirement means to them. The majority of people are going to retire with their debt. Your mortgage is not going to care if you retire. Your car payments are not going to care if you retire. Uh, imagine living. I imagine how many people will have lived in their house for like 20, 30 years, and then they go to retire, and now they can't afford it anymore. They can't afford their house anymore, and then they have to sell it or foreclosure or let it go because they can't live in it anymore, because they can't afford the payment or the taxes. Living your whole life obeying your bosses, the whole life. Hey, what time is lunch? Okay, you only got 30 minutes. You only got an hour. And when I worked my last year before I quit my job in 2016, from 2015 to 2016, I worked as a debt-free person, which is which was life-changing. I looked at my job different. One thing that was bothering the hell out of me, and I got an hour lunch from the job for the job I was working, right? But even that started to bother me. I would go to lunch and I'd have my lunch and I'm eating, and it takes, if I have to drive there, so if I have an hour lunch, it takes me about, counts on where I'm going, 10, 15 minutes to drive there. Then I got to sit down and order. That takes some time for my order to come. And then by the time my order come, I don't really have that much lunchtime left because I got to have time to get back to work. That was starting to bother me. I was like, they tell me, okay, you got to go out, but you got to be back at this time. I'm like, sometimes maybe I wanted to sit there for just relax and eat my lunch for 2 hours. Maybe I just wanted to go home after I ate lunch. You know how many times I just wanted to go home right after lunch, but I couldn't. I had to go back. And then when I get back, I had to work myself back up to work mode. And at that time, after lunch, I'm looking at the clock, how many hours I got left before X amount of time to leave. But what it really was is that I was trapped, but I was debt free. It was different. I was like, my attitude was like, I don't really have to be here. But what was going through my mind, I can't just quit a six-figure job. What am I going to do? And the whole time, time is ticking. True wealth is time. I'm going to say that one more time. True wealth is time. I am now able to look back on my whole career. Every time I would get a higher wage job, my car would get upgraded, the place I live would get upgraded, putting me down in a worse position than before my raises. And once I earned six figures, I had to show the world that I earned six figures. The whole time, I have to obey my bosses to keep those six figures. I had to keep, I had to show the world I make six figures. Look at my car, look at my place, look at my clothes, this and that, the payments, payments, payments. The whole time I own nothing. Time's a ticking. Tick, 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 tick. But also, let me tell you this, also at the same time, and this is just with my regular salary, I thank God that God didn't make me a millionaire or a multimillionaire before the knowledge I'm sharing with you guys today. You know why? I would have lost it all. Relationships, buying nonsense, uh, just just not to understand, like, if I've had a job all my life, right? Job all my life. If somebody gave me $5 million, I would have not known how to handle it, what to do with it, because when you're in debt, taxes are your enemy. The reason why they're your enemy, because you're in debt. When you're not in debt, taxes are your friend. Taxes become a form of income. But when you're in debt and you have a job, like when you finally get out of the job world, you have to take care of, I had to take care of my own taxes, I have to take care of my own health insurance, I have to do all of that, which made me realize that when you have a job, they do everything for you, so you can just be there to work and nothing more. And then don't make if you work at a job for like 10, 20, 30 years, you probably are already made your identity, your job, your identity, your job as your purpose. I remember I mean, don't get me wrong, they paid me to work and do a good job, but I realized that I made it my identity. How did I make it my identity? By working by first of all, as a computer engineer, I would put my work email on my personal phone because they would pay, a large portion of my bill, which was also a trick too. So that means after 5, I'm checking my phone. I wouldn't even leave my phone in another room when I'm off at work at home. I'd be like, "Where's my phone?" Or if I went somewhere, I would take my phone and my laptop just in case if there was a Sev one and I need to get online on time, because I made my job my identity. They I By making my identity, they were paying me 8 hours a day, but owned me for 24 hours a day because they could call me at any time. Hey, LJ, if if a Sev one happens, you got to get online. That means you own me. I don't remember seeing that in my contract that you was going to have me for 24 hours a day. But you know why I didn't say anything? Because I was in debt and they owned me. So I had to obey my bosses. Mm. The whole time I owned nothing. And then, when they have, you know how they have 401ks at your job. Now, if you're debt free and you have a job and you're investing in your 401k, that's different. But the majority of, and I specifically remember saying this to myself, right, when I was in debt. At this particular time when I was working, I could, the maximum I could put in a 401k in one given year was $20,000 back then. Okay. And I remember saying to myself, who in the hell has 20,000 spare dollars to put into a 401k in one year? Mind you, I'm making six figures. People that are not in debt can do that because I did that in my final year. Easy. It was easy. So not only did I was able to put 20,000 to my 401k and let it grow, I also got to take $20,000 off my taxable income, lowering in my tax bracket. You hear me? And then I maxed out my HSA, which also takes, say like I put $4,000 in my HSA, right? That's 4,000 more dollars off of my taxable income. And they give me a HSA card and I can buy things tax free with that money, buy things that are on a particular list that are medical, like say like, you know how you got out of pocket copays, right? So say like you get some medicine and you got a copay of $20. I use the HSA card to pay the copay, which is tax free $20, not after tax $20. That's how taxes become your friend when you're not in debt. That's how taxes become a form of income because people in debt cannot do that. Most people cannot max out a 401k or HSA to take advantage of because they're in debt. If I could go back now, making my six figures, right? Of course, I would not have been in debt. I would have purchased a place from a tax lien or a foreclosure. I would have paid that bad boy off so fast. And you know what that would have done? I would have eliminated my largest monthly expense for the rest of my life. I would have eliminated it early. I could have did that easy, right? Eliminated my largest monthly expense for the rest of my life, which is rent or mortgage or whatever. Gone forever. I wouldn't have been trapped. If it was time for me to move or if I wanted to go somewhere, I just sell it, take that money and buy a new place somewhere else. Remember this, as long as people have mortgages, there will always be tax liens, there will always be foreclosures because the only reason why most people have what they have is because they have their job. Now, look at a job like I look at a job like a tree. The trunk is your job, the branches and leaves are all the things that have attached to that job. If the trunk is cut, everything falls. Okay. So the majority of property that you see it depends on the people's job. And a million things can happen: a divorce, job loss, a breakup of, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. There's a million things. But when you're debt free, you have the money and you're ready for this because it happens every day. It happens every single day. You know how many people are trapped in their house, trapped in their cars? You'll see a person that gets a new car like every 3 years because they're leasing it because they're trapped. They don't have no money to get out of it. And that's where people like me come in to get not paying full price for no car, for a car I want. I buy what I want. And you know how it felt so good my last year when I was debt free. I never kissed manager's ass or nothing like that, but it was even worse than that. It was like, so like you have, and computer engineers, you guys could relate to this, right? You have meetings and then your bosses are in there, they're saying stuff and they're promising things and they say, okay, we'll revisit it next week. Next week comes for the next meeting and they don't even bring it up. But most people don't bring it up because they don't want to make the boss mad or whatever. I used to bring it up. Hey, I thought we were going to revisit this thing from last week. I wasn't scared to because this is one thing that would irritate me. Say like I had a meeting with one of the managers, right? And they say, okay, we're gonna meet at 1 o'clock in the so and so room, right? I'd be there right on time, and then they will always come late. 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late, and then walk in and say, hey, sorry, I had this and that and this and that. So I had to sit here and wait for you, but I can't be late, right? If when I would get there and I'd give them 5 minutes, if the manager or my boss wasn't there in 5 minutes, I would leave and go back to my cubicle. You wasn't, and then they would ping me, hey, LJ, where you at? I was there. You were not there. Do we need to reschedule or what are we doing? Most people will not do that, or especially this. When it was time for raises, this was the best thing. I loved being about debt free and working, right? When it was time for raises, I would normally meet my boss in the office. They would slide a piece of paper over and then would say, hey, here's your raise for this. I would say, oh, great, take it, accept it, and walk out, right? No, I'd come with a counter offer. They would come and say, hey, this is your raise. I'd be like, oh, I was looking more for this. How many people you think do that? Come with a counter offer when it's time for raises? Not many. I did it. It felt great too. And I got it because I knew I was good at what I did. So why not? The company was making billions, millions and billions. Why not? I realized it put the power back in my hands because I didn't need the job. That's what it was. I worked because I needed food and a place to live, but when you have no debt, your savings my savings stacked so fast, my head was spin. It was unbelievable. It put the confidence and the security back in the way I worked. I was better at my job, but I didn't give away any time. When 5 o'clock came, I'd leave. I'd leave. Listen, I would leave my laptop at work. I'm not on call. What do I need that for? No, I'm not bringing it. I removed the I removed the email off of my personal phone and put it on, either made them give me a phone or I just got a little dummy phone and put it on that. And then once, if I wasn't on call, the phone and the laptop would stay at work. I wouldn't need it. They're not paying me for that. Anytime I answered emails or phone calls after work, that time was free. I remember I would have to, if I'm out and about enjoying my own time and a 7-1 alert would come across the phone, I would have to stop doing something I was doing in my own personal time and get on the job and work on my laptop and this and no. Even and when I was in debt and I was doing it, I knew there was something wrong. I knew it, but I couldn't put my finger on it at the time because I didn't know it was because I was in debt. I didn't know that at the time. But now that I've been out for 10 years, quit my job in 2016, a job was masking my whole entire life. Yeah, I drove a nice car. I didn't own it. I lived in a nice place. I didn't own it. I'm going on vacations, uh, doing certain things. Oh, I better have a credit card. Why? Because I had no money of my own. I needed a credit card. I was depending on credit cards. You hear me? Depending. Why? Because I was in debt. If they cut off credit card access throughout the United States for 3 minutes, say like, no, excuse me, for like a minute, 30 seconds, all business would stop. You understand? Because the majority are in debt. Let me say what's up to a few guys in there. Jimmy, Lottery, what's up? What's up, King? What's going on? My guy, you are always putting out that good knowledge. I appreciate it. My plan is to take this globally. SMD, in my vision, I'm going to just say this to you guys right now. My vision is to take SMD around the world, just as big as like Dave Ramsey, right? Because I think it's to me, SMD is just as big as Dave Ramsey, just as big as Tesla, just as big as Tesla sending SpaceX sending rockets to the space and back and putting up satellite. It's just as big because it can change people's lives right here, right now. I already know this is the this is how I'm showing you guys and myself. This is how it works. First, I have to know the product that I have. Now that I know the product, now I just have to build the structure around it. I've realized this too. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm not here to convince them that it'll change their lives. I just wait for people to come to me. I attract it. Sup, Monique? Dark, October. I'm not here to bash debt slaves. I'm here to, these fears, and when I say fears, false evidence appearing real psychologically, these fears of quitting a six-figure job, going without insurance, health insurance for years, removing personally, and this is personally, you guys, this is personal. I've had to remove people from my life because they don't understand it, they don't get it. The majority of people that have tried to hold me down from progressing are my own people, my own family. It's bigger. Getting out of debt and getting out of the debt matrix perspective was just part one. Getting out of debt was just to free myself physically. After I freed myself physically, which was not an easy feat, then I had to free myself mentally. I had to remove fake friends, family members that I thought I had to stay in my life because they're family, so they have to be there, their blood and all that. All of that stuff is. Do you guys know all of that stuff is just a program? All of it's a program, just like the debt matrix. That's a just because they're family, that doesn't mean if they're treating you bad, they're removed. They were holding me back, trying to figure out why. Hey, I'm trying to look, this is great. We can all get together, we can create this business and we can just all grow. No, they don't. They become jealous and envious of me, which is mind-blowing. My last relationship, do you know I was in a relationship with a person that was jealous and envious of me. It makes no sense. No sense. I'm like, what? Okay, wait a minute. Stop focusing on me. Focusing. We look how much money we can make from this business. Focus. Let's do it. Nah, nah, nah. I'm assuming that when the people don't have that kind of knowledge or drive, and they look at you and get jealous and envious of you. It makes no sense, but it doesn't matter. I don't. I'm not going to take the time to figure out why a person is jealous of me, why a person is envious of me. But I have realized this: I've never been jealous of anybody in my life. So that makes everything, put it this way, everything's positive and negative, right? I've never been jealous of anybody. I don't care how much money they have, what color they are. I've never been jealous of anybody. That makes me a person who attracts jealousy. I attract. So when I would feel jealousy or envy from another person, I wouldn't understand. I'm like, why do I feel that from a person that's supposed to be my friend or my family members? Because I attract it because I don't put it out. I don't know what it's like to put out the energy of jealousy because that's not me. So that means I attract it. So now, today, I know why. I can feel it. I can feel it the way somebody looks at me or talks to me or just pure just energy. You can feel it. Now I pay attention to it. Oh, okay. It could be many things. It could be because I'm a good looking man or I'm black or who knows. It could be a million things. To me, it doesn't matter. I have a I have a very tight circle right now. I only have people in my life that care for me, love me, genuinely want me to have the best in life. Just like SMD family members. I tell this to you guys because I want you to be happy, rich, wealthy, do better, be better. Never one day. I don't care if you made you had a business and you blew it up well past. I'm not going to be jealous of you. I'm gonna be happy for you. When I get make videos like this, just obey bosses. This is not to make you feel bad if you have a job. This is just to make you aware of something you might have not paid attention to or might have not looked at it that way. How to I make sure when the fears come in, like I'm age 56 now, okay? There are fears like, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money. Uh, it's getting close to retirement and I don't have any money in the bank, like real money, right? Real money in the bank and to live off of. You can let those fears come in, or you can say, what I do is I'm going to be a multimillionaire with S&D. I already know. No different than, listen, no different than when I quit my job in 2016. I had not a clue of what I was going to do. Not a clue. What was I going to do once I quit my job? Because that's what the mind wants. What's the next plan? The next plan was nothing. The next plan was to take a year off and do absolutely nothing because I had never done that in my life. I had never taken off more than a week or two in vacation ever in my entire life. And now here I am, took a whole entire year off. I remember what I decided to do. I said, you know what? When I first when I first quit, I said, let me start acting the way I want to act or feel how I want my life to be. So what I would do is like in the mornings, I would hear everybody getting up, warming up their cars, getting ready to take off for work. I'm still laying in the bed sleep. I would get up about 8 or 9, and then I would go to Starbucks about 9:30, right? If I got up a little earlier. And then I would just sit in the Starbucks and have my coffee for as long as I wanted. No rush. I wasn't in there with a laptop pretending to be doing something important, like they always do. They be in there like they just got so important stuff to do with their laptop and they're doing business. I was in there doing no laptop, no phone. Maybe I looked at my phone and stuff, but I had no place to go, just chilling for as long as I didn't leave Starbucks until I was ready to leave. You understand me? No rush, no nothing. I would go to lunch. I would pick a restaurant, go to lunch, and stay there as long as I want by myself. I still go to lunch by myself today. I love it. Love it. And when I go out to eat, I see couples at I see couples at the tables eating, and guess what they have? Each of them have their phones out, not even talking to each other, not even looking at each other. None of that's going to be in my life ever, ever, never, ever. Whoever I'm with, we're never going to do that ever. That is not happening. Now I'm in a space. Let me try to explain this space for you guys. I'm in a I'm in a perspective. I'm gonna call it a perspective because it is a perspective. I'm in a perspective that I've never been. Um, my plan is to take SMD around the world, but I don't know how that's going to happen, but whatever. It's going to happen. Not many people understand this space because this perspective because not many people have ever been here. I believe like a truly wealthy person would understand, maybe not understand how I came about or the way I'm doing it, but in a perspective that they know that could join with me and it would work. But a wealthy person that understands where I'm at, that could give me even more knowledge of where I'm headed because I'm ready to listen to that person. I can listen to, hey, what's up, Nicer? Long time no see. I'm in a space, in a perspective where it's scary combined with fears, but I keep all that stuff at bay. I have to. I have no choice. I don't let it. Sometimes it'll get to me in a day, and what I make sure I do is like if I feel like the fears have overcome me that day, I make sure I don't do anything. I make sure I don't make major decisions when a fear has overcome me. Never make never make major decisions when that happens. That they never turn out right. It's usually wrong, and I've done that a couple times, and they usually turn out wrong. Um, it'll feel like sometimes it feels like it would be called lonely, but lonely is a wrong word because I don't mind being alone. It doesn't bother me at all, right? It's just that each perspective that I reach, there's less people there. And I'll be looking on the internet trying to find like a spiritual type of or people that are maybe similar in a similar space, but it starts to become fewer and it's like SMD. There is no not there is no other channel like SMD on the internet that not that I found. I've never seen anything like this channel. Anything like tells facts with math. Put it this way, I look at the number line, zero in the middle, positive numbers on one side, negative numbers on the other. The number line is the line between what you can see and what you can't see. So here's an example if you're new to the channel and if you're in debt. If say like you have a car payment, okay? If you hold $20 in your hand and open up the calculator app with the other and put in $20 minus your car payment, the calculator says you do not have $20 in your hand. You don't, right? Now, the number line is the line between what you can see and what you can't see. So your mind is going to tell you, I do have $20 in my hand. I'm physically holding it. I'm looking at it. But then you look at the calculator says you don't have anything in your hand. The number line is the line between the physical and the non-physical. Money is currency. Taxes. Taxes are your friend. Like I figured out, and I'm still figuring out, like I had to get coming November, I got to get insurance, health insurance, right? Well, not got to get, but I'm going to, right? And with owning a business, I can write off my premiums. I can write off my HSA contributions through the tax savings. When you're in debt, and you have a job, you can't do any of that. You can't write off your premiums. You can't write off your HSA contributions. You can't do any of that. It looks like, and don't get me wrong. If you put money in your HSA on paper, it lowers your yearly income, right, to lower yourself in your tax bracket. But in reality, you have no money to put in your HSA to do that. You don't have any money. And say like you're a person that has been contributing to your, and this is what I believe why, I mean, the whole thing is set up to, because debt slaves drive the whole economy. Capitalism would not exist without debt slaves, okay? I think they set it up to where, this is what I see. They set it up to where you put money in retirement, you put money in these places. So when it's time to retire, you will have enough money to make payments on the stuff you don't own to continue to own it, right? You might have to get a smaller place, downgrade things, right? But just enough to for so you can afford the payments on your new lower end stuff. What's up, D Wave? But the main part is now that I've escaped, I know what a job really is. Uh, except that I own nothing, right? I don't own anything. I mean, I own my car, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real assets type of stuff. That's what I mean. Uh, a business is the only way, because you know this was so crazy about a job. They will make they made me believe retirement's an age. They made me believe that in order for me to have $1 million in my 401k savings, I have to work 30 years to save it. No, I can make $1 million in a single year. I can make $2 million I can make as much money as I want in a single year and have enough retirement money to last me through my lifetime, and I made it in a year. That's what's going. Listen, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with S&B. That is happening. But true wealth is owning the time in your life. I promise you that owning the time of my life, and I don't own all of it. I'm gonna say I own about 90% of it now because I still have to work my business, right? I still have to work my business. But I put it this way, I want SMD to be what I'm thinking in my head, but maybe SMD is part of something bigger. Maybe it's going to be partnered with somebody. Who knows what it is? I try not to have my mind think it's going to be this, because if it's not that, I'm gonna be disappointed, or you know, I don't really get depressed, but I get down sometimes. I do get down sometimes, but not too long. If I get down, I'll just lay down or something. I don't really do anything, but to but when I go out into the world now, it's very different, because I know when I see when I see hourly wages, or I see people working at particular jobs, uh, uh, I can clearly see that they are slave wages. Because you'll see somebody, say like you're working at like a fast food restaurant, right? It's a really low wage, and then out of that wage, it's minus taxes and all this other stuff, and then you gotta have a car to get there, and you gotta pay for gas and insurance. It's really when you when now that I can see things for what they really are, it's bad. It really is bad. It's bad, especially if You're in debt all your life, and you're taking little jobs, and these jobs you can't really save for retirement having a job like that. You can't. That's impossible, right? And then you go and finance a car because you need a car to get to this job that barely pay. It's just mm, sub D wave. LJ, the wealthy, they are willing to listen to you. It's the respect for time, and you are someone that doesn't waste others' time. And the successful and wealthy see that. See, and that's they and that's a very good point, Nicer, right? They're probably not on social media like this. I'm on social media because for now, this is the only way I can think of to get out what I'm trying to push. This is life. This is life changing information, life changing, and I've been at it for about 10 years now, probably a little over 10 years. Because I understand it's always going to be this way, always. Debt slaves are the engine to this economy, and I understand that. So when I'm out and about in public and I see the busy world just moving in trucks and everybody's driving and honking and it's like the Matrix movie, when they're downtown and Neo and uh, uh, the other black guy, they're standing and everybody's walking around and everybody's moving and nobody's really paying attention to them. That's how I live. If I'm out if I'm out and about and I'm driving, right? Say like I'm driving and somebody's in a rush and they're honking or they cut me off or whatever, I back off and let them get that space. I don't know what's in their mind that day. Maybe they're stressed and debt and relationship problems. I'm not going to be the one that they decide that, okay, this is the day that I just don't want to be here no more. And at that point, because I'm at a place of peace in my life right now that I guarantee you not many people reach this perspective of peace and true wealth. Not many at all, right? Being here allows me to see the people that are not here. I can just listen to the way they talk and they speak. Uh, I just have kind of like, I just have conversations with people and I just listen to them. And I could tell the unhappy people, they're not happy with their life, what's going on. They're doing for everybody else and not themselves. They're letting themselves go physically unhealthy. Not just and here's another thing I realized too by not having health insurance. Not having health insurance made me focus on my health even more because I couldn't afford to get sick. So I started removing the foods that I shouldn't be eating, uh, exercising, walking, paying closer attention to my blood pressure, because when when I was working and I had health insurance and I'm just going by what the doctor says. Oh, and I go in there, hey LJ, your blood pressure's high, it's inherited. And I'm like, I don't know why it's high. It was because I was eating how I was eating. I'm here. I am pretending like I don't know. I do know. It's the food that I was eating, how much I was eating, you know, 3 times a day and all this. None of that is true. My body is so used to not eating at all like that. I don't eat like that. I go from right now, they call it intermittent fasting, but this is just what I do. At 6 o'clock, I don't eat anymore. I stop at 6 p.m. and I don't eat again till 12 o'clock the next day, 12 in the afternoon. That's like 18 hours. Today, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about it. You know how much money I save by not eating, going out to restaurants and grabbing Taco Bell and not Taco Bell, but Taco Time and you know, all these fast food. I save a ton of money doing that. I'm definitely lowered my blood pressure by not eating that type of food. I don't know how much is in it. I don't know how much sodium they put in it. I The food I cook is mostly at home. I come home, the first thing I eat to break my fast is a salad. I make a salad every day. I make a salad every day. I found some because I really like that at Costco they have that poppy they don't sell the spinach salads anymore, but when they had the spinach salad they sold this poppy seed dressing that I really loved, right? So I found where that dressing, not the Costco brand, but the poppy seed dressing where it's sold. I buy that, put a little on my salad. I make the salad the way I want to make it, and I have a salad first. That fills me up for the first couple of hours. I don't eat till closer to 6. I wait as close as I possibly can till 6 o'clock, and then I eat my last meal. I have some salmon or, uh, you know, some Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. I like to eat avocados too, and uh, and after I eat my last meal, I'm good. I might have a protein shake. Let me say, I do drink my protein shakes, but outside of that, I'm good. Then I don't eat again till the next day till 12 o'clock. I took charge of my health. Now I can see what the healthcare system really is. They're making trillions of dollars because of look at the way we eat. Portion sizes, restaurants are everywhere. Everywhere there are restaurants crammed in the strip mall areas. They're everywhere. Why? Because of the way we eat. And when I see that much food going out, you think they're using the best ingredients and the best of this and that for all this food? No, they're not. They're All those restaurants are for profit. They're there to make money. So they're using whatever they can get at the cheapest price to make the most money. I'm not hating. It's business. It's no different than Dave Ramsey having people do debt-free screams while having mortgages still. If you have a mortgage, you're in debt. Then you think to yourself, why is he doing a debt? Why is Dave allowing them to do debt-free screens? Because it's business. It's business. You're right, Omanike. Stressing out, running up credit cards. You're right. The majority of people cannot, damn, just obey the bosses. Every time you use that credit card, you give your bosses permission to be able to treat you like they want to treat you. And this is what's real crazy. This is crazy. The only reason why, and I want you guys to listen to this closely too. The only reason why you can afford your health insurance is because you have a job. Mm. And me personally, I think that's why they tie it to a job because it forces you to have a job. Because if you don't got a job and you see these prices of health insurance, it's twofold, right? It's to force you to keep a job, and it makes it more scary for you to get out on your own because of the price of health insurance outside of because you got to take care of that all of it yourself. The only reason why you can afford healthcare coverage now is because your job pays part of your premiums. That's why you can afford it. Because if you think about like I know there are probably a ton of you guys that want to get out on your own and do your business, but the first thing you're thinking is I won't be able to afford to live because it's not going to the money's going to take a minute to start going and all this other stuff. And then what about health insurance? Exactly. It's scary. But so crazy, and I'm not suggesting this, okay? But this guy, he I didn't say nothing to him when he said it though, but I went to this park outing one a couple weeks ago, right? And we got on the discussion of being free in America or something. I forgot how we even got there, right? But I was telling him I was debt free and this and that, and we got on the subject of health insurance, right? And I said, yeah, if you get, he said, he said, if I'm out there and I have no insurance and I get hurt and I have to go to the hospital and it costs $20,000, he said, I'm just not gonna pay it. And he said, what are they gonna do? And I was stuck for a minute. I was like, yeah, what are they gonna do? If you get hurt and you go to the hospital on something serious and it's a $50,000, $100,000 bill, and you don't have insurance, and you get and because they have to take you in an emergency. It's a law, right? They can't just say, "Oh, you ain't got no insurance, we can't help you," right? They help you get your back fixed up, right? And then you got that bill coming. He said, "What are they gonna do if I'm gonna pay it? Nothing. They can't do nothing." And I was stuck. I was like, okay, interesting. Because the shit it really makes no sense. It really doesn't. The longer I've been out and thinking about healthcare and figuring all this shit out, right? The reason why health care is so expensive, this is why it's so expensive. Because they can charge whatever they want to charge, because you don't us as consumers, if you have insurance, right? And you go to the doctor or whatever, and your insurance covers it, you don't care what the price of the care was because your insurance is covered. So if you walked in, saw the doctor, it costs $1,000, but your insurance covers the whole thing, you don't care that it's $1,000 because you're not paying it, right? And so here I am looking into trying to find the best plan. Really, it's not even about the best plan as I'm looking. It's about the plan I can afford. It's not about the best. Oh, this office. Oh, they got comprehensive care and they can do that. It's not about that. What can you afford? You only can get the type of health care you can afford. So I'm looking at this plan. All right, the deductible is 2,500, and then your monthly premiums are $600 or $700 a month, but they only cover 70% because there's co-insurance. The other 30% I have to cover, but then they have a cap limit of $9,000, and then you got your copay. It's like the monthly premiums for a health for a policy is just for the privilege of having a policy. That's just to say you have a policy. Then you have a deductible that may be 25, $3,000. Until that's paid, the insurance company pays nothing. They don't pay anything until the deductible's paid. And then once you meet the deductible, they pay up to 70% of the bill, and then I'm responsible for 30% because that's the co-insurance part. That's the co-insurance. They still don't cover 100%. None of that shit makes sense. None of it. But when you're in debt, they can do that because debt slaves don't care. The majority just eat whatever, how much, doesn't matter how much they eat, stuff themselves. That's why all you can eat restaurants are everywhere. They're taking full advantage of people getting sick because of bad food. Ain't that crazy? California law doesn't let medical debt be added to credit. And this is what I realized. Let me tell you something, Dart. This is what I realized about being debt free and I don't use credit. The only reason why the majority of people care about debt, right, and paying their bills is because of their credit. When you don't use credit and you have your own business, listen closely. When you don't use credit and have your own business, it doesn't matter because I'm not using it anyway. It doesn't matter. My credit, you know what my credit score is? My if I look up my credit score now, well, I did look up it maybe a month or two ago. You know what it says? It says unscorable. That's what it says, unscorable. My credit has been frozen for years. I froze my credit for years. Just, somebody get a hold of your identity and try to charge some stuff or open up stuff. Mine is frozen. You're not getting anything. It's frozen. They're not, you're right. They're not using the best quality. You think You think when you go to Taco Time or even these little side restaurants, you think they're using the best ingredients, the top branded? They're not. They're not using top brand ingredients. They're not. It's about profit. But I've also learned this when it comes to back to the health insurance thing, right? If I'm making $1 million a year and it's all about money being debt free and you have a business, a successful business, right? I don't really care about the deductible. I don't really care about the co-insurance and what I have to pay because I have the money to cover. No different than like right now, S&B family. Just like when we get car insurance, we get the highest deductible because it's going to have the cheapest premiums, right? So if we get in an accident and our deductible, say like it's 1,000 or 1,500, it's not a big deal because we're going to have the 1,500 already in the bank. So if we get in an accident, if it's our fault and we have to pay a $1,500 deductible to get the car fixed, we're going to have it. It's not a big deal. The same goes for health insurance. The same goes for it. If you make enough money, right? You make enough money, is you're not really going to care. Because my goal right now is this. My goal is to never think about money again for the rest of my life. That's my goal. Now, being born in the debt matrix with a job, always have to work for money the way I had to work for money. That's a very difficult thing to do. Very difficult thing to do. Very difficult to not think about money ever again. But that's what I'm going to do. Life is really not that expensive. When I go to fill up my trunk, I don't fill up my truck. I don't look. Now, don't get me wrong. If it gets way up there, I'll be surprised that it's over $100. But I don't. I just fill it up and drive away. I don't really think about it like that, right? One day, everything in my life is going to be that way. Because the wealthy don't think about. I promise you, the wealthy don't think about money like the way we do. They just don't. Money is a tool to them. When I drive down to the waterfront in say like in Tacoma, Washington, I'll go down to the waterfront over there, right? And along the way, you can see yachts that are sitting out in the water, big yachts, huge yachts, right? That's somebody's play money. You understand? That's somebody's recreational money. That means they don't think about money the way we do. They're not always on that yacht. They're not always taking that yacht out on trips every single weekend. They're not. They're not. That doesn't. That's when they have available time or they're in town to do whatever. That's when they use that yacht. Those yachts cost more than most people's houses, and that's their recreation. That's for recreation. Not saying that. I even want one. Not saying that I'm envious of jealous of a person that own one. Would I love to talk to a person like that? Yeah, I would like, hey, listen, I'm all ears. I'm ready to listen. What do you how do you think or do or whatever? I don't that's a whole different perspective of life. Do you understand? Totally different. They're not they're not talking about insurance premiums and how much they are and all this stuff. They don't have those kind of talks. They don't even talk about money. I guarantee it. Most definitely, they're not using olive oil for sure. I'm gonna for surely not. LJ, you spoke on how you worked on your mental health. Can you share what you did for that? Oh yeah, great, man. I appreciate that. Great question, man. Great question. First, what I did first after getting out of debt, then I had to work on myself. That's a very good question. I had to work on myself. So I had to, one second here, just a second. And this was hmm, I had to work on the things within me, right? And the first thing I had to do, I was in a horrible relationship, not too long, maybe from 2017 to 2023. I was in a horrible relationship. Once I got out of that relationship, I had to figure out what caused me to even be attracted to a person like that, right? Because I had warning signs in the very beginning, but I was ignoring them. I was like, oh no, it'll work. We can make it work, even though she's lying and doing all this other cheating and stuff. We can make it work, right? So after I escaped, I had to figure out, okay, what made me accept that, right? And I realized that my dad wasn't around saying that I'm just not that even he probably wouldn't even taught me. I'm just saying I didn't have a father around to say that had the knowledge to say, you need to discover what made me happy. I had to find myself first. What because what I have pictured in my mind for a relationship doesn't necessarily mean it's the same picture that this person had, which she didn't. We didn't have the same picture of what a relationship is because she was making that obvious because of what she was doing, right? So I had to figure out, well, that makes me, I was, put it this way, I was putting the mask on people. People always say, uh, that person had a mask on, but nobody tells you no. We put the mask on the people. We make them look like we want them to be when they're really just being who they are. They're not, she was being who she was. I had a mask on her trying to pretend like it wasn't. But anyway, so I had to work on my mental part of that. Why was I doing that? After I discovered, okay, it was me being attracted to those type of women. I had to figure out myself first. Now that I learned, don't get me wrong, I learned a lot from that horrible relationship. I take I take the horrible relationship, remove all the bad stuff and say, what did I learn from that? And then I took what I learned and learned more about myself to where now nothing like that will ever happen again. I will never end up in a relationship with a woman anywhere close to that. Nothing bad because I had to find peace within myself. And then the next step for my mental health was with my family, my mother and my sister. Now, my mother, I had a wonderful mother. When I was a kid, I had a wonderful mother. I had my even though we lived in the projects, I had my own room. I had my own color TV. And this is the '80s, okay? My own color TV with cable TV in it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had chores. I had things to do. I wouldn't say I was spoiled. I still had things to do, but my mom wasn't mean. Our household wasn't bad or no yelling and screaming or cursing or just she just didn't allow any of that. It was a house of peace, right? But as I became an adult, I realized that my mother wasn't She didn't accept that I started having my own mind and my own choices. And at first, I was just accepting that because she started treating my sisters. I have two younger sisters. I noticed she was treating my two younger sisters differently than with me. She would tell them things and then would lie to me about certain things. I'm like, why is my mom doing that? Why is she lying to me, right? And I realized she was starting to show favoritism as we got older. But I didn't think it was a big deal. I was like, okay, maybe she just relate to them better because they're women or something. I was just thinking that. What's up, Jane? I was thinking, okay, maybe she. But it was more than that. She was treating me totally different the older I got, and I was thinking, okay. So I remember. Then this is just a few short years ago, right? Once I came back from being in a relationship with the other woman in another state, came back and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be closer to my mother, right? I started going to church with her every Sundays because she was getting older, just still trying to spend some time with her. But I noticed that she was still treating me different than my sister. So I had to, when we went out to breakfast one time after church, we would go out to breakfast so I could spend time with her. And I say, hey, mom, I would like to talk to you about something that's been bothering me because it's really been bothering me. And then as I'm talking to her, she's making faces and she's like, oh, Linnell, you too sensitive. I was like, okay, I said, okay, first of all, mom, I'm not sensitive like that. I'm just being this way first because you're my mother and I need to talk to you about this. And then she continued to start just doing that almost like a child, right? I'm like, okay. I said, all right, mom, I said, we're gonna stop this because it's really starting to hurt my feelings. But I'm gonna tell you something. If you continue to do that as when I'm trying to have serious conversations with you, I'm not gonna go with church with you no more. I'm gonna stop all that, right? And she was like, okay, okay. So I think a week or two, the next we went back to go out to breakfast and I tried to start up the conversation again. And she did the same thing. And I was like, Mom, didn't I tell you last time that if you did that, I'm gonna stop doing that? Oh, Linnell, this and that. And I was like, okay. Then I stopped. I thought I thought that was gonna bother her, or once I stopped, she didn't say, "Hey, Linnell, I'm sorry," or "I really miss going." Do you know nothing happened? I just stopped talking to her. We just stopped talking. I was shocked because I'm thinking to myself, here's the mass thing I was telling you about. I'm thinking there's because if a person I loved came to me and told me that I was doing something or doing something to them to bother them, I would change it because I wouldn't want to lose that person in my life. So I'm thinking this is my mother. She don't want to lose her. She don't want to lose her only son. Do you know I don't talk to my mother anymore over something like that? But I had to do it for my mental state because I'm thinking that oh I have to make this work, but I was losing myself. And then my sister, she's a few years younger than I, right? Never had a fight. We've never disrespected each other. I was always the adventurous one. I would leave out, try different stuff. I've always been like that all my life. Just leave different places, live and when I would come back home, I could just stay with my sister because we always got along. We sit down. Once I moved back, oh yeah, you can move back in. I paid a half the rent. There was no rules that had to be said. You had to pay half of it. It was just like automatic, of course, right? We'd sit down, watch movies together at night. It was very enjoyable. I used to look, but then when I came back this last time, I came back. I created a business. We had first I created a business with the woman I was with. I came back home, and then I started up my own business with my. I said my sister's been helping with me with all throughout my life. I loved her more than my mother, and I said, what would be a better way to help pay my sister back by making her part of half the business and all this other stuff? I like she can quit her job. We can go full time in this business. And then as we're going along, she had a job, right? So I said, okay, it's gonna take me about 3 months to set everything up. And then once I get things going, you can quit your job and you can start helping me, right? So okay, cool. 3 months come, now, as the 3 months are happening, I'm seeing her not, she's not really participating in the business after work, or helping me do things. She's still doing her own thing like nothing, right? So when the time come, I'm saying, okay, hey, I need you to. Are you gonna quit your job to help me? She was like, she was saying yeah, but she wasn't doing anything to do it to change it, right? But I know that she was won 50% of the money, and I was like, okay, she can't believe that she's gonna get 50% of the money when she's not doing 50% of the work, because she wasn't helping me at all. She would come home and just do her thing, and she'd be out kicking it with her boyfriend. I'm like, hey, I'm here all day with this business. You got to help me, right? Then I said, okay, not a big deal. Uh, I'll just listen, I had to talk with her. I said, hey, I'll just take your name off of it. And then when you're ready, then we can revisit this. And she got up. She's like, nope, I'm not taking my name off. I still want half the money and all that. I was like, what? I was like, no, she's joking. She's not really serious. She was dead serious. And when I said, okay, sign your name off, she said, I ain't signing my name off of nothing. I was like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, you're not working the business. You're not even helping me. You still want 50. Yeah. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was in shock. I was thinking, you know what this is going to do to us if you continue to do this? I can't do that, right? And so when I asked her, I drew up the paperwork to have her sign her name off the business, and I left it on the counter, and she didn't sign it, of course. And then she left and stayed over her boyfriend's house for like 2 weeks. Didn't even come back to her own house for weeks. I was like, why is she staying away from the house? I don't get it. Just sign it. I'll move the business out of your house, and that'll be that. And we can revisit. Not a big. Next thing you know, a few weeks, about maybe a month later, the police come knocking at the door. And guess what they said? You have to leave. Your sister is scared for her life, and she's not safe with you in the house. I was like, what? I told the officers, I was like, are you sure you're at the right house? Because my sister and I had never had a fight in our lives. Are you sure? They was like, are you Mr. Young? I was like, yeah. They were talking to you. I mean, they didn't say it like that, but I was in shock. I sat down in the chair. I started crying, and the officer, luckily it was two women officers, and they was like, you know what, take your time, you can have a little more than 30 minutes, just da, da, da. My sister tried to make me homeless. Luckily I had a great friend, and him and his wife took me in right that same day. I never spent one night in my truck, and I couldn't believe, but that part of my mental right there, that was, once that was over, I had to think about the lesson from that. Okay, the lesson from that lottery. This was the lesson. I always had knew my sister was a bad person. The way she treated her friends, the way she treated her boyfriends behind their backs, it was just dirty shit, right? But I overlooked it because I thought she would never do that to me, because nothing like that have ever happened. She would she would even do her dirt in front of me. Like, she had a boyfriend that I liked. I liked her boyfriend, right? But since I lived with her, she would do her dirt, have her side dudes come over there while I was there. Just dirty shit, dirty, right? But and it was so difficult for me to look her boyfriend in the face when he would come over. I was felt. And then she tried to, try to make me be friends with the side dude. I was like, hey, listen, I had to pull her to the side. I said, hey, whatever you do is your business, but I don't involve me in that stuff. Because I don't want to be part of that. Because when it blows up, because that type of shit always blows up, right? Your boyfriend's gonna be looking at me. Hey, Linnell, did you already know? And what am I lie to him? Like I say, I didn't know. I did know, right? What freed me from that lottery is removing her from my life. What By her kicking me out, it was a blessing. It was an absolute blessing, because the stuff, the paperwork packet that they handed me to read, what she wrote in there, she included her boyfriend, the people to stay away from, and these people all co-signed: the boyfriend, my mama, uh and I think a couple other people, right? Nobody else involved. She just made up a whole story. But the paperwork told me what I needed to know to release that from her, because or else I would have been like, oh, that's my sister. Uh, we got to make it work and all this, all that stupid nonsense. No. Now, removing all of those people, lottery, allowed me to be alone in my own thoughts, in my own, just amongst myself. Now, a lot of people cannot just be alone. And in this time, in this generation, being alone is really not alone, because if you can be alone, but if you have your phone, you're not really alone unless you turn your phone off. Because you can be in a room by yourself and pick up the phone. Now you're not in that room anymore. You're in Africa with zebras, and then somebody riding in a car, skateboarding, and then somebody having a fight in a restaurant, and then you're in California. You're everywhere. You're not in that room anymore because the phone takes you out of that room. Social media is an addiction, a very powerful addiction, very powerful addiction. I'm the same way now, Dave, D Wade. I love being alone. I really enjoy it. I go out to eat by myself all the time. Love it. Well, I don't go out to eat all the time, but when I do, I'll go to a restaurant, one of my favorite restaurants, and I'll be there alone. I don't mind it. And the best part of what the crazy part about, I just love looking at the other tables when people are coupled up, and each couple always have their phones out. They're not even looking at each other. They're on their phones. Being debt free allowed me to, it gives, being where I'm at, debt free, uh, in a different perspective, at peace. When I'm out in public, people can see it, they can feel it, they can hear, they can tell by the way I interact with them. They can just, it's different. I give off a different energy. It's true. It's true. I'm free to be wealth. First, I had to become wealthy in my mind first. When the money, the physical wealth come, I'll know exactly what to do with it, how to handle it, what to do. I will know exactly what to do. I'll know who to talk to, how to interact with wealthy, like-minded people. They will be able to help me fill in the blanks because I can speak their language now. They will know that I'm not going to kiss their ass because they're wealthy. No, I'm going to be friends with them because genuine friendship, genuine knowledge. You know who helped me the most? White people. Along my journey, white people have helped me the most. My own people have been the ones that have been trying to keep me down and destroy me. The woman I was with, we built a successful business in the worst time in history. In 2020, we built a successful business. The same woman that tried to destroy me and the business. Then I get home, I try to create a successful business with my sister. She tried to destroy me and the business. My mom tried to, it's weird, it's crazy. But now where I'm at, all of that had to happen because if the millions of dollars in wealth would have came while I still had those people in my life, they would have destroyed it. They showed me with the little bit of money I had with the smaller business. Can you imagine if I had created multi-millions of dollars with the business there? They would have destroyed it all. They wouldn't care just to try to destroy me. I thank God every day that he didn't give me wealth before today. Thank God. I would have lost it in divorces, uh, relationships. I would have lost it all. But recently, I would have lost it all with family members because we think because that's an automatic. If you get wealthy, oh yeah, automatically you got to give wealth to your siblings and this and that. No, you don't. That's TV. All you have to do, and if you're in this situation right now and you have family members that treat you like shit, just recognize that they treat you like shit. Do you want somebody like that in your life? It doesn't. You don't have to accept that just because they're your sibling. You think you have to accept them treating you bad. That's messing with your mental health. I promise you, it is. It's sucking your energy dry. They will suck your energy dry like a vampire because they don't like their own life. They're trapped in their jobs. They don't like their. But all you got to do is listen to them. Listen to a person that talks about their job horribly. You know why they're still working there? Because they have to work there. They have to obey their bosses. And then, since they can't take it out on their bosses, guess who they're going to take it out on? You, if you allow it. I used to, when I stayed with my sister, I used to always have to hear her coming home complaining. Listen, and this is what made me feel so good about having her join the business that I was creating. She used to always come home every day to complain about her fucking job every day to where I got tired of hearing it. I'm like, why don't you just quit? You know why she didn't quit? Because that was her environment. They talk about it, but they love it. They love it to the point to where I said, "Hey, listen, if you're not going to quit your job, I need you to stop talking to me about it because I don't want to hear it." And I noticed, and I noticed when I was there doing these lives, she was jealous and envious of me too. When I would do these lives, SMD lives in her house, I would tell her, I would walk into her room and say, "Hey, listen, I'm about to be out here in the living room doing a live, so if you come out, just kind of be quiet or whatever." I would specifically tell her that, and she would say, "Okay, right." I'd be out there doing a live. You know, she would come out, make noise, slamming cabinets, and doing all this crazy stuff. I was like, didn't I just tell her that I was doing a live? Why is she making so much noise? At first, at first I thought I was tripping. I was like, okay, maybe she just I didn't know what to think. So I said, okay, let me do this. Let me do this again to see if she does it again. And then hey, I'm about to do a live out in the living room. She'd be like, okay. I'll be out there doing a live. She'd come out again, making all kind of noise, talking on. She'd be on the phone talking. I'm like, didn't I just tell you I was on a live? And I thought I was sure. I said, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in my room and do a live to where she can't come in because that's my space, right? She would come by my door. I kid you not. She would come by my room door, constantly making noise by my room door. I was like, this motherfucker is jealous of what I'm doing. Yes, my own sister, envious of me because I was a go getter or I made things happen or whatever, right? The last thing I ever thought that somebody that knows I love them, I'm thinking they love me, that would be jealous or envious of me. I thought I was tripping. No, I wasn't tripping. Sucking my mental energy dry. I'm so glad in the end. I'm glad that the ex-girlfriend did that. I'm glad that my sister and my mama did that. It made it easier for me to remove them. So when they go around and this is another thing. This is another thing, lottery. They like to go around and tell everybody things and spread rumors. These are called it's called flying monkeys. Go around and tell. I'm like, I don't care. Listen, to me, where I'm at, I don't care what you tell other people. I have no because none, I'm not in contact with any of those people. And if any of those people try to reach out and contact me, I tell them immediately. If you come back to me and tell me something that my sister or girlfriend or whatever try, I'm going to remove you too. So don't do that. Shout out to James, man. I appreciate you, man. Really, it's been a while since I see the super chat. It's been a while. It's been a weird summer. Fake people are exposing themselves. I had to drop fake friend. I had to drop a fake friend in June. Now I'm losing another. He suddenly called me up right after. He suddenly called me up right after a recent SMD live. Caught me off guard with pure demonic. That's what they do. James, let me tell you something, man. This is how I got to turn this AC on. Hold on, it's getting warm in here. 1 second. 1 second, you guys. You're going right now, you're going through the stripping of the fake people out of your life. And when you say they're exposing themselves, let me explain that to you. It's they're still being themselves, James. You're just being able to see it. You're not letting it be clouded by the, oh, we're friends. My friend wouldn't do, I call it the mask. We put the mask on the people. We put them on the people. When we say their mask slip, their mask is, the mask slipping is us being able to see them more, the mask that we put on them, the fake friends. When you said he called right after S&D Live, caught me off guard with pure, see, even, I've even had to remove my sons. You hear me? Even my own boys, they're adults now. I had to, because for the longest, and for those of you that don't have children, you might not understand this, but even when the even when my boys become adults, I still see them in my face as my children. But this is my first time having young adults, right? So this transition from children to young adults is a that's really difficult to explain. But they're adults now with their own mind, but I was still looking at as them as children. But they started trying to take advantage of me because I was looking at them that way. Until I had to wake up and say, oh, okay, you guys think you can treat me like the people that I let go because you're my sons. You're able to see them now, James. That's what it really is. They're not exposing anything. They're still being themselves. You're just not accepting it anymore. And it's a hard, you can do it one of two ways. You can tell them, or you can just cut them completely off. You can just completely remove them. I suggest removing them because they don't really understand what they're doing because they just do that. And that's another thing you really got to accept. People that lie and the demonic like that, they believe it's normal. In order for them to know that they're doing it, takes self-reflection. And narcissistic people, demonic people, they never look at themselves. They never say sorry. They don't never take accountability for anything. So they don't know. And that's irrelevant. That's irrelevant if they know or not. They just have to be removed. What's up, Jacquees? They just have to be removed, James. This is a this is a blessing, sir. This is a blessing. You're going to realize it doesn't matter if they're family, it doesn't matter if they're friends. Your mental your mental state is the most important. That is key. Your mental state. It hurts at first because you can't believe they're doing this, why they're doing it. You got to cut them off. Don't tell. You're right. Just like Obanike said, don't tell them nothing. Just leave, block. I had something maybe a couple weeks ago, like beginning of the month. My youngest son moved to Texas, right? And he calls me up. He's been doing a few things for a while, but this was the final straw, right? He says, he moved to Texas, but he was supposed to do some things here. He didn't call me. He didn't tell me he was moving to Texas, but I overlooked it. All right, cool, whatever. Then he called me up. We started talking for a little while, but we still have to talk about the things that we didn't talk about when he was here. So he calls me up about the beginning of the month saying, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna come up. Uh, I'm coming up back to Washington for about a week or two. We should get together and have dinner or whatever, right?" I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "Cool." Without talking, I said, so I texted him. I said, "Hey, man, give me a call because I want to talk to you about. I didn't say about. I said I want to talk to you." He said, "Okay, Dad. I get off at 4. I'll call you at this particular time, 4 o'clock, whatever time. It was a time, right?" I said, "Cool, all right." He never called. He never texted. I said, "Okay, maybe an hour or two. No text, no call. A few hours in, nothing." I said, "Okay, let's see if he calls and texts the next day. Nothing." You know what I said? That's enough because it was wearing on my mental state, Lottery. Why is he doing this? This the mental energy. That's enough. Called, blocked, everything's blocked. Everything's blocked. You can't reach me no more. You can't do any of that anymore. My mental state comes first. That's blocked. Now you're not allowed to do that anymore. Because it went from phases, Lottery. It went from my mental state due to debt and bills and all that stuff. And then it was my mental state within. My mental state within. It doesn't matter who it is. Now, and another thing, James, these people, even though they've done it to you, they do it to everybody. Try not to even take it personal. They don't do it to you. They think it's normal. They do it to everybody. By you cutting them off tells them you're not going to do it to me. I don't care who you do it to. You're just not doing it to me. LJ, I missed my narcissistic adoptive mother's B-Day yesterday. Oh, yeah. I remember you kind of mentioning that last time. Felt good not reaching out. Yep. The mental piece had been excellent. Tired of her talking to me any way she wanted. I'm a grown ass. See, I'm a grown ass man. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You know how good it feels to me to not to have to call my mother on her birthday or show up their house at Christmas to have them fake Christmas gatherings with all the family that I don't talk to all year. We don't talk to nobody. Then we get there. Hey, so and so, it's so bad to say. All of it's fake. All of it's bullshit. All of it. Then I was have to sit over there and then watch my mom eat herself into a coma and sit on this couch and sit there. But I can't leave too early because you got to pretend like you got to stay there for a while before. Man, I'm so glad I don't have to be part of that anymore. I'm so happy. I spend time with my friends, my two white friends, by the way. They have uh, fun gatherings, and it's peace and love, and it's just it, they show me nothing but love. They're like my spiritual family, right? Which is I can't even explain it. There's there's a family that you're born into that you don't have a choice on, and then there's your spiritual family. There's a difference. I love it. I don't have to. I don't have to. Text or call some family members when they're on their birthday. Hey, happy birthday, and I never talk to them anyway. All of that is corny. It's just it wears on your mental state. You might not think it does, but it does. Once you free yourself, Jacquees, just like that. You see that the way you're speaking about not having to talk to her on her birthday and all this other stuff. It's so freeing. It's like that's not a thing I have to because if it feels like a task. If you feel like when a family member's birthday comes up and you feel obligated to do something like a task, that right there tells you something right there. It says something's not right. It doesn't feel natural. Something's wrong. That's a hint. That's a red flag. I completely agree. I agree completely. Removal is necessary. He had a dark guilt trip aura about him. Yep, you can feel it. I would never speak to another human being like that. James, you see what I'm saying? It's real. It's real. If if I told you half the things that the woman I was with did, you would swear she's a straight devil. If I would have if I would have never in a million years would I thought my sister would go to a judge in order to get a protection order. You have to go to a judge and lie to a judge. You hear me? You have to go to a judge and say, "Hey, judge, uh, here's all the lies. I'm scared of my life, of my brother, and this and that." And you have to lie. That's a whole different level. You hear me? There is no way I could do that. That's dark energy. I've never been in I've never been in trouble with the law in my life, and my sister tried to give me my first one. My own sister removed forever. That's forever. That is forever. I have some family members. We had a family reunion this past July, and I had a couple family members say, "Hey, El, how come you ain't here?" Blah blah blah. I heard you. Yep. I said I don't want to be near my sister. Too soon for me. No, thank you. Oh man, blood is this. I said, hey, listen, listen. I had to stop the family member. I said, hey, listen, you don't know what happened. I'm not going to explain it to you. I don't want to talk about it. It's not not something I need to convince anybody the truth. I don't really care what she's telling you or any family members there. I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me because she knows and I know whatever she's saying is a lie, so it doesn't matter. I know the truth. I don't want to talk about it. I'll be at the next one in a couple years. I'll be pretty healed by that time. But now it's too soon. I knew our relationship was over because she tried to talk down to members last year, and I defended myself, and she tried to gaslight me saying I was being disrespectful. Yep, clocked it plus mental detached. Yeah, that's what they do. Gaslighting. They like to try to lie to other family members or people to try to get them on their side. That's all they do. They just never shut up, telling everybody this fake ass story. But what they don't know is that I don't care. I don't care how many people she tells. I don't care because I'm not hearing any of it. And even if it tries to come back to me, I stop it right away. I stop them. Hey, no, I'm not talking about it. I don't care what she told you. Don't tell me. I don't need to know. It's none of my business. If you want to keep talking to her, that's between you and her. That has nothing to do with me. Nothing. And once I detach myself, it really doesn't matter who she tells or what she says. It doesn't matter because I'm not hearing any of it because I live in a whole different perspective of the world now. Totally different. Totally different perspective of the world. I'm free. I don't have no bosses to obey. I don't have any negative energy in my life, no negative people. I only have a couple people in my life that want the best for me, and I help them much as I can, as they help me as much as they can. I even still, I have a couple S&B family members. We talk on a regular basis because this type of peace and SMD family stuff is very rare. It's very rare. I accept it. I cherish it. Uh, what I I understand my time here is limited. Every All of us here that are even listening to this is our turn here on Earth. There have been millions of people here before us. This is just our turn. Are you going to let other people that don't care about their turn here mess up your turn, mess up your mental health because they're your mother or your sister or your family members? Or no, you better not. You better enjoy your time here. Nobody's listen, nobody's messing up my time. I thank God for all my lessons that I've learned up to this point, because I wouldn't be who I am today. I'm not I'm not mad that I was in a relationship with the girlfriend. I'm not mad that I was in a relationship with my mom and my sister. No, I've learned from that, took the lesson, and gained knowledge from it. She's not used to people going ghost on her. Nope, they never are. They never are. She's used to family members bowing down, yep, apologizing, then kissing the ring. I did none of that. She also posts passive aggressive. She also posts passive aggressive online. Oh, passive aggressively online. So I block. Exactly. That's what they do. Remove them, block them. That's what you must do. Remove them. They have to know. They have to know that they cannot reach you. They have to know that. Then they're going to use what's called flying monkeys. They're going to talk to other people to try to get the message passed to you. And when it happens, Jacquees, you got to tell that person that's about to try to pass the message to them, stop them in their tracks and say, I don't want to hear it. If you continue to do it, I'm going to remove you too. You have to be aggressive. You have to. They're going to talk about you. Oh, Jacquees has changed. Something's wrong with him. Yeah, he's tripping. That's what I heard. I've heard she's told all the family members something's wrong with him. Even my even my two boys' mother. Now we don't even talk, right? But we happened to be on the phone one time talking about our middle son, right? Our second son together, because he was kind of messing up some stuff. So we got on the phone. We kind of talk about him, and he's an adult, but he's autistic. So we had to talk. She got on the subject of what she started running down things that only my sister could have told her, which told me everything. She told me basically what she was saying. Oh yeah, I heard you're. I'm like, first of all, why you even talk? We didn't even talk in years. Aren't you married? Why are you even talking to me like that? I didn't say that to her. I was just kind of listening to her. And then after she was done, I said, hey, listen, uh, I'm not here on the phone to talk to you about any of that, right? Then she starts trying to overtalk me like she used to talk back in the days when we were together when we were a young kid. I was like, I'm not sure if she knows. She obviously doesn't know who I am today. She starts, over talking. Then she just hangs up on me, right? Once she hang up on me, guess what happened? Blocked. We're never talking again, ever. She thought I was going to, after she hang up on me, she must have thought I was going to text her back, hey, why'd you hang up on me? What'd you do? No, I don't do any of that. I don't have that in my life. People in my family see me as cold. That's so funny to hear, because that's how they talk about me. Cold because I don't engage in drama. I'm quiet and I'm good at disconnecting. Miss so many family parties and B-days for sure. Keep your peace. Believe that. I have to see her at a mutual friend's wedding in October. My brothers and their wives are going to and will sit at the same table. I love them. Okay. Just just don't rock with their mom and hubby. Hey, listen, prepare yourself when you get there, because she's probably gonna give you evil looks. She's gonna spread some stuff around, talking to other people. Hey, how come you're not talking? Hey, listen, don't engage in any of that. Don't give her mean looks back. Avoid her as much as possible. Definitely, you're not gonna be having no kind of. She's gonna probably even try to pull you to the side at the wet. Nope, none of that happens. No, thank you. None of that. They're not narcissistic people are not used to people not paying attention to them. They're not going to request that I be seated at a different table. Is that too much, LJ? How should I play? You know what? That's a good question. Go by, well, I'll use myself as an example. This past July, the beginning of July, was a family reunion. Okay. I didn't go. Now, this is up to you. I'm not saying not go. This is totally up to you. It really counts on how you feel. If you feel you're not ready, don't go. Right. But I didn't go to my family reunion because I didn't want to see my sister. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to look at her. She went to a judge and lied to a judge, try to get me a record, try to make me homeless. No, thank you. I'm not ready to see you yet. But our next family is in a couple years. Oh, I'll be cool then. It won't bother me then. But right now, it was too soon. And this was I left in December of 24. December of 24 is when all that happened. December of 26 will be 2 years. So it's up to you. I say like this: your mental state is the most important. Your mental state is the most important. If you're not ready to see her at a place like that, because even sitting at a different table, do you really believe that's going to make a difference? Are you prepared to see her facial expressions, the way she's going to be looking at you? Are you prepared to, uh, when she starts telling everybody at the wedding about you, and you got to be ready for that. Like in 2 years, when I go to the next family reunion and she's my sister's there, I don't care if she tells me that won't, none of that will bother me at all. I won't care, even if she's looking at me a certain way. It won't bother me. It was just too soon for me today. I mean, this past July, excuse me, this past July. That's all. Not a big deal. It's all about your mental state. Are you ready? I know this is way off the subject of of the uh, of the title, but I enjoy these conversations. I do, because they help. It helps me talking to you guys about it, sharing my experiences, and I hope it helps you. It's huge. This is big. I love talking about it. I love sharing stories with you guys. I'm in a perspective that not many people are at. Um, if I can help you guys reach this type of perspective of peace, that's what I want to do. If you see me do a title like this, Just Obey the Bosses, and it clicks on it turns on a light in your mind saying, "Hey, I've never looked at it that way." That's what I want, because the only way I could see this and come up with titles like this by escaping it first, to be able to see what I couldn't see before, to see the peace that I have today. I have so much peace, it's almost scary. It's so quiet. This type of peace is very quiet. And when it's real quiet like that, it's like fears try to find something to intrude. It'll start fears will start making up stuff that don't exist, things that could possibly happen. Just making up stuff. It's just the mind making up stuff because it's not used to peace. The mind and the debt matrix and family problems and disrespect. There's always something going on to keep your mind busy, to talk about or get involved in. But when you don't have that in your life anymore, which I don't, It's quiet. It's 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 the type of quiet that you got to turn your phone off because you'll reach for your phone every single time and open up TikTok or YouTube or something to feel the quiet time or the quiet whatever. What you don't want to do. You want to, when you're alone, power the phone off. I promise you, it makes a difference. Not just put it on silent, power it off. I promise you, it makes a disconnect. It disc Something disconnects from your brain. When I'm alone, I power my phone off. Even though I don't really have anybody calling me. Okay, I don't have people texting me and calling me like that. That doesn't happen anymore anyway. But powering it off creates a disconnect. It really does. LJ, it's funny. Everything you're talking about is what I literally went through with my own mother. I hit the boiling point. She was literally affecting my mental health, so I blocked her. Yeah. I love my mother. I had a wonderful childhood. She made it wonderful. Don't get me wrong. She made my childhood wonderful. But for some reason, as an adult, this is, and lottery, this is what made me think about my mother. She always, growing up, now she never talked negatively about my father in front of me, or if they had an argument on the phone, when they broke up. Excuse me, yeah, when they broke up, because they divorced when I was like very young, 7, 8, somewhere around there. But when he was gone, she never spoke negatively about my dad in front of me. And if they got in an argument or something, she never did that in front of me. She always had to go to another room, or she just didn't do it in front of me, right? But she always made it seem like it was they divorced because it was my dad's fault. Everything was my dad, right? But now that I'm an adult, soon as I became a man, my mother changed. She thought that I couldn't have my own opinions, my own decisions, even though it had nothing to do with her or nothing against her or anything. She just thought it's weird. I don't really know how to explain that, but she always just thought I'm supposed to be that little kid all the time, even though I'm a grown man. I'm like, no, I still have my thoughts about something. I don't mind talking to you about it. It changed. It changed when I became an adult. Let's just say it like that. And that's when our relationship changed. And when she did this recently, I had to cut her off. I was like, okay, because it hurts. Yeah, I'm grown, but that's still my mother, and it hurts. So I had to remove her so she couldn't cause any more pain. So now they can stay amongst themselves talking negatively about me, whatever, telling everybody they want to. But if none of those people are in my life, including them or the people they talk to, it doesn't matter because I don't hear any of it. They just keep it amongst themselves. They can talk about me all they want amongst themselves as long as I don't hear it. So B Martin's going on. Thank you for the advice. Thank you for advice mathematically. Just to focus on laying off debt. Yep. Okay. While I do that, I could study the business I want to do, and will love so when I'm debt free. Boom. I know what to do. That's how it works. While you're getting out of debt, focus on what you want to do. Because I promise you, once you're debt free, your mind's going to open up with ideas, uh, different different business ideas are going to come to you to the way to do them. And I promise you, being debt free, like when I created a business with the X, man, we were only able to do it because we were debt free. We didn't have to worry about extra bills, just the main ones, just the rent and the power and the lights and the car insurance, whatever. But it wasn't much more than that. When you when you and then you can reduce things. You can pay your car insurance every 6 months, which is cheaper. There's so many. I pay my car insurance by every 6 months. I pay my phone bill by the year and sprays cheaper. All those things you don't have to think about anymore. They're off your table, off the plate. It's just so beautiful. You can't. It's very difficult to try to create a business with business and I mean, excuse me, with debt, and you got a job. It's very difficult. But once you remove debt, you don't have to work all this overtime, and then you got more time to work on your business or your ideas or whatever, right? Especially, especially if you have a partner, a true partner, you can do it together. After you get debt free, uh, one person can still have a job and which has health care insurance, and then you're on that their insurance with them while the other person works the business. It's just so, man, i had to do I had to do it all by myself. I had to. Even even when I was with the woman, I was still doing everything by myself. I had to run the business. I had to take care of the taxes. I was cleaning the house. I was it really it was never a team. We built the business together, but as the business grew, she started thinking it was her business. I will never forget when we went to go get, once we proved the business was good, it make money, we had to go get it properly licensed and everything. First you got to prove out the business is going to make money. Once you know it's going to make money, then you go get your licenses, and then you start so you can start paying the taxes and all that other stuff, right? I remember we went to go to get the license. We went to a business. We had a business place set it up for us, right? And then the guy that worked there, he said, "Okay, how is the business going to be split?" I said, I looked at the guy, I said 50-50. She was like, like this hesitation came out of her mouth. I was like, what? Well, I was like, why are you hesitating 50-50? She wanted it higher. She wanted a higher percentage than me. I was like, what? That was my first red flag right there. Red flag. And then the guy could see the look on my face. He was like, he said, okay, how about you guys go home and talk about it, and then we can just come back and revisit this again. I was like, okay. That was a red flag. Red flag. So if you got a partner with you and you guys are married or boyfriend or girlfriend and you guys are truly together, congratulations. And you guys are a team to escape the JOB, just obey bosses. You guys can do it together. Congratulations. That has always been like a dream of mine, to have a true partner in every aspect of the word, where you don't have to think about anything negative. You're both on the same page. Uh, you're here to help grow together. No lies, no secrets, no stuff that hasn't been told. Just all that stuff is just it just doesn't exist. Now, there are many people in relationships that are married that don't have that, have kids, don't have that, sleep together, don't have that. They don't really know their partner. I'll be by myself for the rest of my life because that's the only thing I will accept. That's the only thing. Man, these 2 hours be going quick, man. I don't even realize it's 2 hours. That's crazy. That is absolutely wild. 2 hours gone that fast. Wow. Oh, well, I'm gonna wrap this up, you guys. I appreciate you all. Shout out to James for the $20 super chat. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. I don't know how many guys are still on here. The best thing I can say, I'm gonna leave you with this. Once, because I truly believe you guys will all reach this perspective of peace. Like I'm sitting here laying in my place. It's just me and the computer and my air conditioner running in the back. No, nothing playing, no TV, no negative energy, no person in here arguing. Tomorrow I'm just thinking about nothing more than what I have to do in my business, nothing more than that. I'm in bed by 9, sleeping all the way to about probably 6 tomorrow. I usually wake up before that time. I'm gonna take my walk after I get done my business, get some more thinking done. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be. We said, my bad, LJ. Got one more comment. No problem, man. No problem. Meant to keep messaging one message from my last message. That's all. No problem, man. You got one more thing you said, or that's it? Not a big deal. Let me see. Oh, I didn't read that one. Okay. Okay, wait. Thank you for advice. Oh, okay. I read that part. Okay. There's something I'm missing while being in debt. I can't see how to invest the stock market like Warren Buffett and start my successful music streaming app business. How do I prepare? How do I prepare while paying off? Well, okay, this is just my advice, okay? I'm not saying what okay, what I am saying is I'm saying invest in yourself. You can invest in yourself while being in debt. I'm just saying when you start talking about investing in the stock market, the calculator says you have no money to do that. You are going to make more money if you truly believe in what you do and can do. You're going to make more money doing investing in yourself, and then the money that you make from yourself you can invest in the stock market. All I'm saying is this: right now the calculator saying you have no money to invest like Warren Buffett. I'm not sure why you even bringing up Warren Buffett's name, but you have no money to do that. You just have to accept that. Like if you think about it, you don't have any money like to invest in the stock market. All you got to do is believe the calculator. Now, I'm not telling you not to do what you want to do. I'm just telling you what the calculator says. Your savings minus your debt say you have no money to invest in the market like Warren Buffett. From my understanding, Warren Buffett still stays in the house that he grew up in, and he's a billionaire. Him still staying in the house that he grew up tells me everything I need to know about him. He is invested in himself first. Yeah, I don't have any money. Meanwhile, I'm paying off debt. Can I still start my business or at least learn so when I'm debt free, boom, I can start Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know it sounds odd that I'm saying you have no money to invest in the stock market, but you do have money to invest in yourself because it's yourself. You know exactly. what you're doing, investing in yourself. There's no, it's a little bit of risk, but you're in control of that risk. If you invest in yourself, you will have the money to invest. You're going to take that money, pay off your debt, and then you'll have plenty of money to play whatever you want in the stock market. Be like whoever, be like yourself. Invest in your business for sure. He said, also, I mentioned Warren Buffett because he knows S&D knowledge and invests in stock market in a way millions of others can't. For sure, but you have to understand right now, you can't do that. Why? Because you have no money. All you have to do, it's a mental thing, B. Martin. All you have to do is accept that just today, now. I'm not saying forever. Instead of the stock market, invest it in yourself. Believe the calculator. Just believe. All you got to do is just believe the calculator. I'm not saying, I'm not telling you anything miraculous, because you still have a job too, right? You still have a regular job, right, B. Martin? I see. Starting a business is investing in myself. Yep, that's what it is. In myself, and paying off debt. When debt free and my business is successful, I can invest in the stock market. Correct. The job is right now, your job is your tool to make money. Investing in yourself is like, you know how I separate business debt and personal debt? That's business debt. Okay. Yeah, you're in debt, but and if you're investing in yourself, that's called business debt because you're investing in yourself. Stock market is for people with extra money, people that have extra money to put in the stock market. Right now, you don't. Can someone with SMD knowledge be successful with a job and stay debt free and invest in the stock market, or they have to start this? Well, yeah, you can. I'm not saying that people with SMD knowledge, you know, people with SMD knowledge have jobs, but you can be debt free. Being debt free with a job is very different being in debt with a job. Because once I became debt free, the way I looked at a job automatically changed. When I was at work while in debt, we had things to talk about, we had things in common and all this other stuff, and I would listen to all their stuff, right? But once I was debt free, I knew those people were there because they needed the job. I didn't need the job no more. I didn't talk about the same things they talk about. You know, when we would go out and hang out, the most like co-workers, if they hang out after work and they go hang out somewhere, guess what they're talking about? They're talking about work. How they don't like the boss or the hours, or they didn't get overtime. So they're talking about work outside of work. When you're debt free, it's not like that. So it drove me crazy. And I realized we weren't really friends. We were friendly coworkers. That's it. Because you can even understand taxes better when you're debt free working at a job, because you can fully fund your counts on how much money you make, but you can fully fund or partially fund your 401k and feel the tax savings because you have the money to do it. So say like you wanted to lower yourself in your tax bracket, it's like a double savings. So say like you put $5,000 in your 401k, so you take $5,000, put in your 401k, it's growing, And then you get to take the same $5,000 off your taxable annual income, which lowers yourself in your tax bracket, saving you money. Then you put some money in your HSA. So like you put a couple thousand in your HSA, that money goes in there, it grows, and then all of a sudden you could take that same couple $1,000s off your taxable income, and then they give you sometimes they give you a HSA card that you can go buy certain things with your HSA card with tax-free money. It's like a triple tax savings. When you're in debt, you can't do any of that. That's where you make taxes a form of income, which people in debt cannot do. Like people with mortgages, you know how many people with jobs and mortgages believe they're investing in their retirement at work? No, they're not. That's mathematically impossible. It just looks like that, but they're not. So it's sort of like when you say, I want to invest in the stock market while being in debt. It's the same thing when people in with mortgages that have jobs believe that they're investing in their 401ks at work when they can't. That's all part of the matrix, the debt matrix. You can't do all of that is mathematically impossible, all of it. And when you're at work and you tell your boss that you just bought a house, you just told your boss you ain't going nowhere and you're going to be working a lot of overtime and you're going to be doing anything they tell you to do. That's what you just told your boss. Like what if debt free you can use this knowledge to get the executive level in my career and use that wealth to just invest in the stock market instead of having a yeah, you can do that. You can listen, B Martin, you can do it the way you want to do it. All I'm saying is this: when you become debt free, which you're not yet, okay? When you become debt free, your job is going to turn different. You're going to look at your job different. Right now, you don't know that feeling because you're not debt free with the job. You're at a job because you're in debt. Once you're debt free, it's going to change. See, this is James is saying a good thing right here. See what he's saying? B. Martin, I'm out of the matrix. My credit score has been zero since July 24. I work full-time job. I also invest in the stock market, Wall Street. See, he's a perfect example. James has a job. He's still doing, but it's different. I guarantee you, James is not like other people at his job. I guarantee you it's different. If you want to do that way, I'm not saying you must have a business. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying you will do it differently. You will look at your job different. James is using his job as the tool that it is. It's just a tool. I can't wait to look at my job differently. I'm counting the days last debt paid off my February. See, and I'm only saying this because when I paid off my debt in 2015, I did not know I was going to look at my job differently. I didn't know that. When I paid off my debt, it just started kicking into me automatically. I was like, how long do I have to drive to this job every day? I would pull up to a building that I was coming to for years. Normally, I was coming to the office building, pull into the parking lot, walk into the building, and I'm in there for 8, 9 hours. But when I was debt free, I was like, wait a minute. I would drive up to my building that I was used to doing it, and then I would park in the parking lot and I would look at the building and I was like, man, I got to be in there for 8 hours, 9 hours. I started going to lunch, take my normal hour lunch, which was normal to me before. But once I was debt free, I was like, I only get an hour for lunch. And then I would go to lunch and then I would be like, damn, I got to go back and stay in that building for another 4 hours. It was weird. But you have to, it's steps. You have to become debt free first. Stop trying to do multiple things at once because you don't have any money to do it. You must become debt free first. I promise you. Then something else will kick in. You'll be doing just like what James is saying right here, right? My credit score right now, it says unscorable. When I look up try to look up my credit, it says unscorable. Your job is a tool. It's a hammer. It's a lawnmower. My being owning my own business it was a choice, I guess. I mean, when I quit, I thinking about my own business. At the time, I wasn't, but at age 56, the stock market is not going to be fast enough for me, right? When I take this, my plan is to make multi millions of dollars a year. I already know today, right now, that this knowledge, this SMD knowledge, it's capable of doing it. I already know that now. I'm just trying to figure out how to make it do that. It's not a it's not a if this knowledge is valuable, if SMD knowledge is valuable. It's not a if, it is. I already know that today. I've been knowing it for years. I don't know if it's going to be SMD itself. I don't know if SMD is going to be part of something bigger, a part of another business. That I don't know yet. It's just, I got to figure it out. And man, LJ, thank you for sharing your journey. The stock market is meant for wealth, but takes a while. So a business you can get there faster. Stock market is is a slow burn. And I think with SMD knowledge too, and James can attest to that. I think SMD knowledge can really help you in the stock market. I believe. I really think because you're gonna look at it very different if you just understand that. Put it this way: if the stock market said, "Hey, we're no longer accepting margin to get stocks," it wouldn't exist. They have to allow margin because the people investing have no money. The majority of them, they don't have no money. They're indirectly investing the bank's money. You have different eyes. Now, I'm not a stock market person. I don't invest in the stock market at all. I'm just my investment is 100% into me because I'm at an age I need to I have faster, it's faster and I believe I know I have something that can do it. SMD can do that quickly. If Dave Ramsey can do it, I can do it. If Elon Musk can do it, I can do it. They're just they just said, I look at Elon Musk, he obviously had this knowledge in his family. Can If I was taught SMD knowledge soon as I came out the womb and was growing up and it was pounded into my brain, I would have been a multimillionaire a long time ago. That would have happened many years ago. I wouldn't have had children so early. I probably would have stayed a virgin all the way because that's not even necessary. Those things just slow you down. I would have been a proud virgin. I would have anybody. Oh, L, you ain't getting none. You ain't getting none. Yep, and I'm proud of it. People like Elon Musk, they think generationally, right? They think about building. They're going to pass it on to their children. The children's going to carry on the wealth and the gen. That's how they think. When you go out here and just have kids willy nilly, and because the sex is good, that's not, you're not passing nothing on. But you also have to have knowledge to pass on to your children. I'm not mad at my mother and father. They just didn't know. They didn't definitely did not know S&D knowledge for sure. Definitely did not know. It's not their fault. I had to wake up on my own. Nobody told me about S&D knowledge. I just knew something was wrong. Uh, I just listened to God. God led me to Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey said, take the baby steps and take the calculator and his baby steps, get out of debt. Once I got out of debt, my eyes opened up. I started seeing things that I didn't see before. Same thing you're into now, B. Martin. When you're trying to, you got to get out. It takes steps. You got to get out of debt first. Once you get out of debt, your eyes will open up, and then you'll know what to do. You'll invest. Hey, maybe you're gonna use your job and do just like James is doing, or you might start your own business. It's totally up to you. You can do it. Because of ULJ, I stopped dating women with massive student loan debt, was dating a 36-year-old with over 120,000 worth of student loans who bragged about her money, or her alma mater, tried to belittle me. See, they don't know. All you got to do, this is the beautiful thing. This is another beautiful thing about being S&D knowledge, right? S&D is a language. I call it the SMD perspective because it is a perspective, right? When you're born, look at it this way. I want you guys to listen to me closely. Being born inside of the debt matrix is a single perspective, one's perspective of capitalism that you don't even know that you're in. Once I escaped, I realized there's an unlimited amount of perspectives, and the SMD perspective is just one of those perspectives. Okay, just one. In this perspective is a language. Okay, many people do not know this language, so they speak like student loan debt is normal to have. When you go to the bank and you get a mortgage and you ask for a mortgage and you haven't paid off your student loan debt, the bank that immediately tells the bank that you don't know and you live in the debt matrix perspective. You're telling the bank that I'm never paying off this house because I haven't paid off my student loan debt. People are bragging about having equity in their house, but they have student loan debt older than the house. It's a language. They don't know that they're saying that. They don't know that that's impossible to have. First of all, equity is a word. It's not money. They think they own equity in a house that they didn't have the money to buy, and on top of that, they have mortgage. They have student loan debt older than the mortgage, and they're talking about they have money, equity in the house, and they have no idea what they're saying, but it's a language that they speak that they don't know they're speaking because they're trapped in the debt matrix perspective, which is one single perspective that they don't even know that they're in. How do you know to escape something that you don't know you're trapped in? You don't. You don't you don't know that you're trapped in it. You can't skip, B. Martin. You have to become debt free first. See how the connections be made? You you can listen to B. Martin, you can listen to another SMD family member, James, that's doing it, give you some advice, and you know the advice is going to be coming from the SMD perspective, right? It's the right advice that you need to listen to. Well, not you need to listen to, but you listen to, and it's going to be what you need to hear. Let me read that myself. B. Martin, if you want to learn more, check out YouTube and interviews of Stephen Bavaria. He wrote a book called The Income Factory. Interesting. It's a very solid old school strategy. BlackRock pays me every month. Wow. See, I'm gonna even check that out. I'm gonna even check that out. YouTube interview. What is that? Check out YouTube interview of Stephen Bavaria. Let me put that up on my YouTube right now so I can go to it after this video. Stephen. Oops. Let me see. Oops. Stephen Bavaria. There we go. Stephen Bavaria. Okay. Keep that up, and I'm going to check that out as soon as I'm done with this. He wrote a book called The Income Factory. It's a fairly solid old school strategy. BlackRock pays me every month. See, when it's time for me to invest, I'm coming to James because I don't know nothing about investing. All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap it up here, man. What's the wow 2 hours and 41 minutes. Holy smokes! Wow. Appreciate you, James, man, throwing that information out, sharing different perspectives. Right now, B. Martin, you need to concentrate. I mean, still watch the videos and do the with James throwing at you, but pay off your debt first. It's gonna open up a piece in your mind that you need to experience first because you have to go through it, right? You have to. Appreciate you, James. Much appreciated. Jacquees, if you're still here, thank you all. On Monique, I don't know if you're still here. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. If you didn't catch the stream live, catch it later. If you have anything, you can. If you're new to the channel, you can email me. Right? I'm trying to figure out this thing, which I am. That's the SMD perspective, because it's a language that not many speak. SMD family members do different parts, investing and other things, business, and then we can all share this knowledge and all grow together. All grow together. All right, you guys have a good evening. See you later.